like Norton said that basically in the past, he'll look to upgrade every position, no matter what it is. Even the quarterback. They cannot acknowledge Tom Brady. They wouldn't say anything about Tom Brady. But I'm told that they are poised to pursue Tom Brady if and when he becomes free. And as we know, it's Tom Brady's choice.
And you touch me, and I'm like.
So be it. That might be something. Also, his family sacrificed so much. Maybe they have said, you know what, you promised us that you would not do this long. You promised me a certain place. And that's another reason, Tom would be so sensitive to those kinds of things. So there's flexibility for a purpose. And if it's not their purpose to end up somewhere else where it certainly seems like it, then it must be for leverage to go back home. And that's the only thing I can think of. One thing about Tom Brady, he said that I built this flexibility. The next thing I was going to put your story behind it. Why? But Tom Brady doesn't need leverage. Well, that's my point. So in other words, he's built the flexibility for some purpose. I can't imagine what it is. But if you want to say what he has to do, everything about all this is very practical.
Chambean, pero no hablan. Tú compras todas las Jolambón, las pen in the club, while you have in the bank. This is when you really you back. Latino gang, toda esa dieta, para que mi casa tenga mucha grasa. La puta la Gucci bajando de casa, yeah. Imagínate, no te conocen en plaza. El diablo me llama, pero Jesucristo me abraza. Guerrero como Edico, viva la raza, yeah.
All of this and play this all out, Tom will eventually go back to the
Tú eres puro, puro chantaje, puro chantaje. Vas libre como el aire, no soy de ti ni de nadie. Baby, when you talk like that, you make a woman go mad. So be wise and keep on reading the signs of my body. Stop on my feet. Let's go tonight. Put your hands in the air. Put your hands in the air. Come on. So all the sits to J know to this and that flips. I stay grounded as the amounts roll in. I'm real, I thought I told you. I'm really no throw. That's just me. Nothing phony, don't hate on me. What you get is what you see. Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still Jenny from the block. Used to have a little, now I have a lot. No matter where I go, we from the Bronx, New York. Ain't that funny? Baby, you want me? You had me, love is crazy. Let's get it.
Well, it's still overwhelming. It's still fresh. When Zach Ertz started tearing up about that, I connected with that so much because what he said was, I didn't even know the guy. And you have this moment where I think for a lot of us who didn't know him, you're thinking, why am I so emotional about this essentially stranger? But there's something about him, and we know he wasn't perfect, just like the rest of us. There's something about him that just connected with people. I grew up a Suns fan, Matt, so Kobe wasn't a positive person in our home, just competitively. You were a Boston guy and then ended up in Seattle. I know Pete Carroll, just like we saw Russell Wilson talking about there, big fans of Kobe. What do you remember from that time?
Yeah, Pete Carroll leaves USC, becomes the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks in 2010. And the very first thing he did to our team is he showed us a Kobe Bryant video about this Mamba mentality, this championship mindset, what it means to be a true competitor. And Pete Carroll was like, don't miss this. If you can't grasp this, you can't be here. This is what we're going to be all about. And as a Celtics fan, I didn't want to love what Kobe was saying, but I did. It like resonated and it hit home. And I said to myself, like, this guy has a vision and a plan and knows what the foundation and what this team's going to be. And I would just say that this Kobe Bryant mentality still exists in Seattle. It's clear when you listen to Russell Wilson talk or Pete Carroll talk, they talk the way he talked. It's that championship mindset, and that will live on in Seattle and Pete Carroll teams for sure.
Yeah, it is an example of it's okay to want to dominate somebody. It's okay that after you win one, you can win another, and you can win another. That type of drive, that type of competitiveness even made it into our locker room in terms of winning championships and what's your favorite championship? You know, even Brady would say, it's the next one, you know, and that's part of Kobe. Kobe, I mean, he got 5, and I'm sure he would talk about it wasn't enough. We should have had 6, we should have had 7, but that's just an example of the Mamba mentality and how it made it even to pro football. I mean, it wasn't basketball. The drive and the competitiveness was respected across all sports.
I think for me, it's just hard to talk about Kobe. Kobe Bryant was some of the greatest athletes of our world, of this generation's athlete, you know. Yes. And I'll take it back to when I was a kid, being able to respect and look at a man like Michael Jordan and everything he meant to the game of basketball. And you know how many kids around the world tried to emulate Michael Jordan, to come out with commercials, I want to be just like Mike. And here comes a young kid straight out of high school to be able to get to the NBA and just show us everything that we tried to do in the backyard to try to emulate arguably the greatest basketball player. But he put a stamp on this world, not just in basketball, but just as a whole. And just to have a man like that gone at such a young age, I told my wife that I was going to say this, and this message is, you know, to the Bryant family, and I'm sorry for your loss, but in my Moss household, man, is Mamba forever. And I just want, you know, I'm sorry that I'm up here emotional, but That's the first time I've heard anything about Kobe Bryant since his death. And since we were at the Pro Bowl, I had a lot of messages on my phone talking about, Randy, you didn't take time out to give Kobe his respect. But I didn't want to say anything live on national television because we didn't know if things were true or not.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and I really appreciate y'all giving me this platform. But, man, when I say Mamba forever, I'm a big Michael Jordan fan. I really am. But when I say it's Mamba forever, man, I say that Kobe Bryant, to me, man, you take politics out of professional sports. Kobe Bryant is the best and the greatest basketball player, and I'm not saying that since he's here. Anybody can check my resume. I love the game of basketball. Kobe Bryant, man, is the greatest basketball player. No disrespect to any other greats out there. But now that he's gone, I said when he's here, the greatest basketball player that I've ever seen dribble basketball is Kobe Bean Bryant, man. God rest his soul.
That's it, man. Well said.
Randy, thank you. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for expressing yourself. And thank you for a happy time. Emmanuel Sanders, though, today will be paying his respect. He tweeted a picture of his custom cleats honoring Bryant that he'll be wearing today with this quote, which I love. This is from Kobe. "I'll do whatever it takes to win, whether it's sitting on a bench, waving a towel, handing out cups of water to my teammates, or hitting the game-winning shot." Much more coming from Countdown in South Beach right after this.